Hey everybody, hump day. How's your week been so far? I know this is a bit of a confusing time because of all the different time changes with Queensland. I know that we're an hour ahead, so it's a bit muddling. So we've gone live at 6:30 my time because there's a lot of lives tonight. There's the Danny Young's got her country music whiz show on, so there's lots of different things happening tonight. So we tried to make sure that we weren't crossing over with other people. So if you're watching it live, thank you, and if you're rewatching, please put your comments in because I can still see them and we'll do our best to answer them. Well, tonight we've got Michael Waugh joining us, so we might welcome him into the room. Hi, thank you so much for joining.
G'day, Danny. Thanks
How are you?
Well, good, but like slightly confused after my I don't know how to work this technology stuff that's going on. As you know, like it was kind of interesting, and my phone is screaming. We've got 10% battery, so I may have to run and plug it in at some point soon too.
That is okay. Don't worry. You've done very well. You got in very quickly and you got it going very quickly. How have you been during COVID? Are you locked down? Whereabouts are you based?
Well, I'm in Melbourne, so yeah, we can go out as far as the local milk bar, but you know, look, to be honest with you, it's such a beautiful day. So we got to, my wife and I were just out having our walk, so that was really good. It was also, I also work full time as a school teacher, so this week has been really exciting because I've been computer teaching for a really long time, and to be able to be back in the classroom and to actually see kids' facial expressions and to be able to tell when they're rolling their eyes and I need to change what we're doing is kind of been really good. So.
You actually got to see them in person. That would have been strange.
Yeah. Well, I think what's really strange is the kids are really quite. They're clearly excited to be back, but there's a lot of awe and kind of they're being very quiet and respectful, like as they say in the movie, a little too quiet. But no, they're great.
What year do you teach? What grade are you on?
Well, I teach high school, so year 7 to year 12, and the year 12s are getting ready for their end of year celebrations as much as we can have. Like, there's not really a lot that we can do, but we're trying our best to make it fun for them. And so I'm really lucky. I mean, I love songwriting, I love singing, and I really miss it. But the fact that I have this other part of my world, like my Clark Kent persona that I can sort of put on and be the war in the classroom, is just fantastic, and I love it. And it's been, in all honesty, as we know, it's been a challenging year for lots and lots of people.
Yes.
And so while I'm not a frontline worker in the same way that our wonderful nurses and doctors are, like to be able to walk alongside families and kids, especially those year 12 kids, because they've been quite stressed out.
Yeah. I've been wondering how they'd be feeling because I know if I was in year 10 or year 12 or any of that, just not having that that connection with people, and you've got exams coming up, you'd be stressed.
Yeah.
They're doing a wonderful.
They really are. And if anyone who's tuning in has knows a young person who's going through high school at the moment, reach out to them, because they some of them have been doing it really tough. Yeah. I mean, lots of people have been doing it tough, but yeah, I'm particularly mindful of how it's been affecting our young people.
Yes, I mean, these are people that are trying to prepare themselves for a future, and here we are going, you can't see anyone, you can't go anywhere and do anything or learn from a computer, and that for some people probably worked really well, but for some people that would be really, really difficult. So, and the parents teaching, I mean, that is another thing that, it would be so hard, but they're doing a wonderful job doing that too.
Yeah, it is. So it's doing a wonderful job. They're doing.
Yes, absolutely. You're frozen on the screen. There you go. Now we've got you again.
Sorry,
that's all right. You froze for a moment. We've got you back now, I think. So, yes. I reckon technology. Kaz has just popped into the room and she said, "Hi, Danny," and "Hi, brother Michael." So she's popped in to say hi. Thank you for joining, Kaz. You are always watching. We're here to talk about your single that you just released. Sorry?
What's that?
I
was just saying, I was just complimenting Kaz, who is just such a wonderful super fan. She is a friend to so many of us in the country music scene, and writes beautiful reviews of our records and tunes in when we're on the radio, and sits up the front. Often I have a trademark red and black Michael Waugh shirt, and she often sits at the front of shows wearing it. So I love Kaz, and she's living down in Gippsland, which is where I can and what I write about. So it's lovely.
Yes. She supports Country Kickback so well. I couldn't. I've got these lovely people that just support us every time we go live and every time we're at a show. And Kaz is one of them. So thank you. I know we're here to talk about your single, but I wanted to just quickly touch base on you, your career, and what made you get into music and where you started, because we haven't had you on the show before, and there might be some viewers that haven't seen a lot of you. They might not have got to see you live, and I thought we could tell us your story.
Okay, I think that you asked for me what my story was, so I'm really starting to have everything now for my students to learn on Zoom. I couldn't make out a lot of that. Is that right? Can you give me a thumbs up?
Yes, it was. I think you're getting a bit crackly. I don't know what's causing. Sorry, I've lost my voice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's okay.
We've lost you a little bit. I don't know. Is it the charge in the phone?
Plug you in, Danny.
Yes.
I'll move in the room, so I'm going to
That'd be great. Give that a go. While Michael's looking for his charge, it's plugged in.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
No, we've lost you a little bit. I'm just popping
it's better
down
from my end. I can hear you okay, but
I'll just pop I'm going to minimize your screen and pop you down and bring you back in to see if that fixes the problem. Sorry, guys. We'll just give this a try and see if it works.
No worries. Thanks, Danny.
We haven't got any picture now, but are you still there? I don't know what's happening. I can see you now. Can you hear me? No, I think we've lost connection. I'm not sure what's happened, everybody. I don't know if it was because the phone was going flat or if it was internet. I'm assuming you can still see me live. I don't know. Let me know. Oh, I think we might have him back. Just let's try again. I can see you in the green room. Can I see you on the screen? Are you there? No. Yes, we've got you.
I'm here.
You're there. We've got you back.
Good.
Excellent.
Hey, Danny, what I was thinking of doing maybe is how about Good. Well, what I was going to say was if it's really hard, what I can try and do is log out, come back in through my laptop, which might be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Or is this working okay? Or
it's working okay now. Can you hear me all right?
I can,
no.
but I'm trying to talk to you selfie style, and the light's a bit bad, so sorry about that.
That doesn't matter. Kaz said that she can hear you fine now, so that's great. And she also said thank you for your comments earlier. Yeah, so I know you've already got, before the current album that we're about to talk about, you've released 2 albums prior to this. Can you tell us a little bit about why you've gone down the track of country music and where your influence have come from?
Yeah, well, I started I started listening to country music because my parents played it in the car, and it was a case of learning to like country music out of a movie. So that's kind of where it started. In fact, house. There's a picture of mum and dad and my brothers and I must have been about 5 or something, and it was at a local country music festival show. And so I've been, from the time that I've been really young. I also grew up in Gippsland on a dairy farm. And so the stories and those songs that we heard in, especially like, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Jim Reeves, like those, Patsy Cline, those, like, we had these greatest hits tapes that would just roll round and round and round in a car, stereo, and that's how we that's how I learned to love those story songs. So that's why I write the sorts of songs that I write, because that's the style of music that I love. And they told stories about people who were poor because we were poor, people who worked hard and we worked pretty hard, and and community and family, and I love those stories.
Yes, yeah. Very much country music, isn't it? It's that, I think that's what makes it country music. It's the story, it's the truth behind it, it's the feeling that we tell.
Yeah.
Can you hear us okay? Because do you want to log in and try on your laptop? Because I think it's still a bit crackly.
I might, Dan, because I'm feeling like this is not working overly well.
No, it's a bit hard to hear. So give that a try.
All right.
And we'll stay live and let you log in. I'm sorry about that, everybody. Tell us what you've been listening to this week. Who have you been playing? I've been playing a bit of Kicks radio, and I've been working a fair bit, so I haven't been able to listen to a lot through the day. I guess you've probably been listening to a bit of Michael, but let us know who you've been listening to and what you've been up to. Thank you for joining, Troy. I did see your message. I'll pop it up on the screen shortly when Michael comes back in. Have you got a favourite song on the current album, The Weir, or any of the albums? Let us know. We don't have a show coming up tomorrow night. I might as well let you guys know now. We don't have a show tomorrow night. I have to have the night off, so we'll be back next Wednesday with a show, and next Thursday as well. Off the top of my head, I don't remember who I've got because I haven't got my schedule here. But so we'll be back at Wednesday next week at 6:30 my time, or Australian daylight savings time, and on Thursday it will be 7 p.m. Australian daylight savings time as well. I know it's a bit of a pain for people in Queensland because the time difference makes it you're probably travelling home, but it's just really hard to fit it in to suit all the time zones at the moment. Michael has popped back in. I think it looks like it's working. So hello.
Here I am, and I'm not doing.
We can hear and see you. Thank you for coming back in. That's much better.
Yeah.
I blame the iPhone. I'm an Android person, so we'll blame the iPhone.
It was funny though, as we were talking about off air before, when you sent me the link, I thought you were one of the scammers who was trying to, I don't know, get my bank account details and yeah. So
I don't worry too much about that, because if they get my bank account details and can get money out of it, good luck to them. So I'd just like them to share it. Give me half.
Right. That's right.
Kaz said that's better, and Troy has popped in and said hi. And Kaz has said that it's a lot better now.
Good.
Yes. So we heard the part of your story where you were telling us about this. You like the stories and the songs, and listening to that when you were growing up is sort of what gave you that influence.
Yeah.
So going back to your first two albums, how have things changed between doing your first one right through to now?
Well, that first record, because I mean, I made my first record in 2014. We recorded it. It wasn't released until 2016 with Shane Nicholson, and the whole way through making that first album, I just felt overwhelmed. Like I was really in awe of Shane. I had written all of these songs and stories about my home, so about Maffra and Sale and Hayfield and growing up on a dairy farm, and I thought, I honestly didn't think that people would kind of get it, because I thought, I'm just writing. The local people will get it, and my mum and dad will love it, and my brothers will love it, and my wife will love it, and my son will love it, and it's something that I can give to them. And I really didn't kind of expect that people would connect, but because I was writing so personally, I think people started to really connect personally to the stories. And so, like, there's a song on the first album called Hayfield Girl, which is about my mum. Yeah. And people would listen to it and say, oh, that song, it just reminds me of my country town, or it reminds me of my, of my mum. Or for some of them, because the song was about mum's journey through cancer, it's about, it reminds me of like supporting someone who was sick, or about my sickness. And so that's been kind of was really beautiful, like connecting with lots of people. So when I made the second album, I felt a little bit more confident, and Shane started pushing the music in other directions that was kind of initially really scary. I remember there's a song on the second record called Footy Trip, and I just listened to it and I went, there's no way anyone who liked Hayfield Girl is going to like Footy Trip, because it's just a bit boisterous and a bit loud and a bit but like, it's actually the most it's the most played song on all the streaming services is that Footy Trip song. So like with every record, it's been like just getting a little bit more confident, but also deepening that friendship and relationship with Shane. So when I came to Shane with the material for the Waugh album, which is the one that I released in 2019, it was like I was writing for a friend. And so it's like getting to know someone. When you know someone better, you feel more confident in sharing more personal things with them, also taking more risks. And I think that record, there was a really clear vision for it, which was that I wanted to celebrate being Australian. And so all the reference points for the record were about, like I've sung for 3 records, using an Australian accent, like, and written very much like using Australian terminology. But like with this record, with the Waugh record, we used great Aussie rock standards, classics, as being like the reference points. So it was like, I said to Shane, like, the song The Waugh, which is the title track for the record, it was like, like drums like in Paul Kelly's Dumb Things, and guitars like in the Saints Firewood, and like, so we were kind of channeling those sounds, and it's been, and that record has been the most successful one that I've released. So it's that thing of like, coming from a place of, I'm not sure anyone's going to get this, and I'm not sure that I'm good enough to be working with Shane Nicholson, and just feeling more and more confident. But this, like we've just started work on this brand new record now. We started 2 weeks ago, but we had to, because we're living in a time of COVID, and Shane lives on the Central Coast in New South Wales. So I'm literally singing guide vocals into my iPhone. It didn't freeze when I was doing it with Shane. So we're kind of doing, like, making a record by Zoom, and that's kind of deeply weird. But but it's what it is.
It's been good though. It's still allowed people to record. It's still allowed people to release. I mean, we've found ways around this thing that tried to stop us, and we're just going, no, we're still going to do music. It's not going to win.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. But I tell you what, like similar to what I was saying before about, you know, being a teacher and trying to teach by Zoom, it's not the same as in person. And gigs are not, it's not the same. Doing an online show is not the same. I've done one or two. I don't know that I'll do anymore. I want to be in the room with people. I want to talk to them afterwards. I want to give them a hug. Um, I want to see their faces when I sing, and I want to hear the stories about their lives that they're reminded of when they hear and connect with one of my songs. So, yeah,
And as Claire said, she said, "You're the only songwriter I know who can make you cry and laugh in the same song." And that is, that is well said. Absolutely. I can understand that. You released this album in 2019, so I guess that was, you got a chance to see what people's reactions were, and then obviously the golden guitars and things, but you got a chance to obviously play that to people before we were locked down.
yeah,
As opposed to when you release a song or a new song or a new album during COVID, you don't get that connection. I think that is one thing I've been wondering how people cope with during lockdown. Did you find the reaction to this song when you released it, or even last year when you released the album? What was the reactions to Be There?
Yeah, well, like Be There has had, it's a really interesting song for me because I wrote it, I had that melody in my head that's kind of goes into I just start vocalizing, but it's like, for me, it sounded like a little anthem. It was like a marching beat, like something driving off to war. And I kind of didn't. Sometimes songs come to me like that, where it's like there's a melody, but I don't necessarily have the song yet.
Yeah.
And this one kind of hung around for years, and I kept trying to fit it into different songs, and it didn't work. And then it was one New Year's Eve. My son had a really tough time. He had a falling out with his mates, and he was down on the coast. And so we got this emergency phone call after we were both asleep. Dad, come and save me. And so, like stumbling to the car, stopping at a survey to buy some shapes and like a horrible coffee, and barrel on down the road to get there. And there was something about that drive and about that feeling of that, like I said, that anthem that was kind of hanging around, that it made sense. That was his story. It was the story about being there for my son.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like, I don't know, when I recorded it, that's what it was about. But after we released it, very soon after the album was released, my mum and dad both got quite ill. And so there was lots of emergency phone calls, emergency drives down to Gippsland from where I live in Melbourne. And that's like, the phone call at 5 a.m, you got to get here now. And then, so you just drop everything and you run. And so the song then became for me about the story about mum and dad. And like I said, they both passed away at the beginning of this year. So dad passed in January, mum passed just before Tamworth, and mum passed away on the 5th of March. And so there was like, I don't know, that song had become something very different, meant something very different to me. And so when we released it, it was like it released on what would have been mum's 70th birthday. So it was a lovely way to kind of remember her, because like in my mind, she had been there for us boys, me and my brothers, and the idea that, anyway, it just felt right to do that. And, when I put it out, there was this, I got a message on Facebook from this lovely woman who was a nurse. She was telling me that she was working in a COVID ward, and she was like covered, like every day she'd go to work covered in PPE, and she couldn't. She had to self-isolate from her family. She hadn't seen her family in months, but she was being there for us. And she said, "I heard your song, and it just really struck a chord for me." And I love that. It's like I said, you write a song and it means one thing, starts to become something else for you, and then when you share it with other people, it like takes on their part of their stories too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Magic. It's the magic of music, I think. What is it? Music is that strongest form of magic you can find, because it grows every time someone listens to it, and every time the same person listens to it, it grows in their mind, and it just it's the beauty of it.
I know, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like when we were little, like Dad used to love Jim Reeves records. That was one of the tapes that would play in the car. And when we were driving down, so Dad passed away at 5 o'clock in the morning, and so I got the phone call. And it was like, "You got to be here."
Yeah.
And so we were driving down, and my wife was playing DJ in the car. She said, "What can I do?" I said, just play me music to get there. And so we were playing Jim Reeves, and he started singing "He'll Have to Go," and I had to pull over on the side of the road because there were so many car rides that I remember Dad singing very badly that song. But then when Jim Reeves was singing in the car to me about "He'll Have to Go," and it just became something else. So you're right, music, like it does. Songs are, they're like sponges and they soak up our experience. Yeah.
They do. It's amazing what music can do. It really is. Now, the album Waugh was nominated for Golden Guitars. How amazing and exciting that must have been too, and it's such a hard time as well. Very hard for you to probably manage all of those emotions in 1 month. But what was that experience like?
Well, it was so unexpected and so lovely, and to be nominated, and it was like, it doesn't matter if I won, because it was like what, best male artist. It was Lee Kernaghan, it was Morgan Evans, it was this is terrible, I'm going to forget all the other people who were there. But it was
so many.
I think was Bradley Butcher up? I think he was.
Yes, I think. Yeah. Oh, there were so many. I remember looking at the category and going,
and me, I was like, what the bloody hell? Like, it's like these guys and the school teacher from Melbourne. How good. How good. And so, like, it was just bloody exciting. And then the same for when the album was nominated best alt country record, and it was so exciting. But like, as I said to Brad Butcher, and I played a Riders in the Round at Tamworth, and as I said, like, it was very exciting until you work out that Brad Butcher is like nominated in the same category here. Whatever. It was like,
let me have it.
Yeah. But to be up against all of those, wonderful people, and to be the ugliest person in the photo was still a great honour, and it was lovely. But like I said, Dad passed away on the 13th of January, and it was just after his funeral. Like, we talked about not coming.
Yes.
And that was kind of the original plan. It was like, no, there's just no way. And my brothers and my mum said, no, you got to go. Dad would want you to go. And I am so glad that I did, because I got to spend time and be there with my family for the funeral and for that initial part of the grieving process. And then Narelle and I got in the car, or actually we got in a plane and then we got in the car. But I got to travel with my wife, and it was just her and I. And then I came into Tamworth, and it was like walking into a great big sweaty hut. It was just beautiful, and just like people who, like my friends in music, like were just giving me hugs and just giving me love. You know, like I was walking down the street, Casey Chambers ran up and gave me a hug, and like, you know, and oh gosh, Greta Zilla and Brad and Felicity and just all, and Kaz, just all of my friends in country music, and then people who only knew mum and dad through the songs that I'd written about them. Yeah, and then every show I got to stand up and sing Dad's story.
Yes.
Sing about how what an amazing human being he was, and tell jokes about how, you know, how he used to be on the farm, and
Yes.
it was such a celebration of him, and I'm so bloody glad. So yeah, like, it was one thing to be nominated for those awards, but to be able to go to that town, to have my friends and friends that I've made through music, and people, like I said, who knew mum and dad through the songs, like, and to commemorate them just meant the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess, and the other beautiful side to that is music keeps people alive. You're going to keep singing that song. That song's out there forever, and people still get to know you now. How beautiful. How beautiful is that? Troy has actually popped in a question for you. And he said, did the bushfires impact your music?
Yeah. The bushfires in the that we've just had over that last summer period, they definitely impacted my family down in Gippsland. And on the day Dad died, like, there was just this haze of smoke sitting around the house, and like we couldn't see when we were driving down there. I'm yet to write about those fires, but there was the Ash Wednesday fires in the 80s when I was growing up in Gippsland. They've been part of a number of my songs, and on Big Things, which is one of the singles from the Weir album, I talk very briefly about how there's an image of Dad's, because Dad used to work for the SES, and the SES were called in during those fires. Dad just went up, and he went and fought fires, and so just and at the time we were living right up in the hills out in Newry, and we nearly, we nearly lost our home through those. Like, so I've written about it. Probably haven't specifically just written about that, but but certainly mentioned them. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, 2020 is awful as it has been for everybody. It's given a lot of writing things for people to write about in the next few years. I think there'll be a lot of different stories come out of this year, and hopefully we can find some positive ones as well.
Well, that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Like, I've just been like, again, like with this new record, I've been trying to write about mum and dad, but just like, they were people full of humor and full of guts. And that's kind of what I've tried to capture as well, is like their love of life and their humor. And
I think I cannot wait to hear. I mean, I'm still on this album. I'm still happy with this one, but I cannot wait to hear new music as well. And it'll be so interesting to hear the different sounds. As I always say, following an artist from first album through to current album, wherever they are in their career, but also in this time, you've recorded it in a totally different way as well. So it'll be great to hear the differences in the sounds, and I think it's going to be very special.
I look forward to sharing it with you.
We will definitely be hopefully having you welcome to have a chat about your next album as soon as we can. Have you got any more singles planned from your current album?
Look, to be honest with you, there was thoughts about another one, but I have a feeling that we're going to be releasing something new early in 2021. So so there'll be singles coming out definitely in 2021, and I think that's the conversation at the moment. I don't know. It's like I'm as good at working this stuff out as I am working out Facebook Live. So I don't know. The answer is very clear, unsure. No, it'll be new music next year.
Yes, it will. That I cannot wait. Kayleen has just popped in. Thank you for joining us, Kayleen. I know that we're at a funny time and we've gone over our normal time, but we had a few issues with the technology to start with, so we thought we'll keep going. And Troy has actually popped another song, and he said, "Do you have a special spot?" I'll put it on the screen because I can't see it all. He said, "Do you have a special spot where you just sit down and play a song?"
To be honest with you, like it's lots of places that I like to hang out and play. We've got a beautiful little deck at the back here that I like to sit out when my son's not playing music in the shed, because he likes to play loud music in the shed. But to be honest with you, when I write and when I practice, and so I love taking over the kitchen. And just sort of just walking around with my guitar. It sounds like it's not a particularly romantic place to play, but there's something about the acoustics in the room.
Yeah.
There's something about, like, also I think just I think the kitchen is kind of the heart of your home in lots of ways, and there's something about it's just like I'm just going in there, and it's where I go to have a cup of tea. It's where I go to. It's usually where I go to watch Narelle cook, but it's also the place where I write.
How lovely! That's an interesting. I love. So these are the things that we get to hear when we're talking to people. The amazing little things that make things happen, because everyone has their own little ways and little processes that they go through. Well, before we go, where can people buy your current album or any of your other albums? Where's the best place to keep an eye on when you get back to gigging, where you'll be?
Well, I know that Sanity stores and JB Hi-Fi stores, well, they're certainly closed in Melbourne at the minute, but you can order them online and they'll send them out to you. It's on all of the major streaming services. So if you Google my name, just like it's spelt there on the screen, and follow my Facebook page. Yeah. So.
Margaret has popped in. She said hello from Chris with Love Music.
How lovely. But you know what? To be honest with you, I love it when people contact me on Facebook. I love it when people, especially when they message me and they say, "I heard this song, and it reminded me of this in my life." I love that. And like I said, sometimes when I play songs, I really do start to think about other people's stories that they've shared with me, and contact me on Facebook.
So send a message and share your stories, and I think that's the beauty about the Australian music industry. We've got such a family of not just artists, but of fans and of friends. Everyone's just a big family. It's lovely. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And thank you, everybody, for sticking around. We had a few issues at the start, but we got through them. We did fine. It works well. So we'll be back next Wednesday. We've got tomorrow night off, but we'll be back next Wednesday with a show, and next Thursday as well. So have a great week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Danny. See ya.
Thank you.